Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realnesss with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here for our Francis Survivor Sunday. Is my dad, G Daddy, to talk about episode 3 of Survivor. How are you doing?
Doing great. How you doing?
I am doing well. With this episode, I'm not doing so well, but I actually really look forward to talking to you guys about the season. So I'm doing
you're
great.
in mourning a little bit. Okay.
It's a little sad. And making her first appearance on the podcast is my stepmom, Sheila. How does it feel to go from I'm never doing this podcast, never coming on the channel, to being here right now?
I was very adamant. Hello, Chantele. Thank you for having me. I was very adamant about not coming on the show. I don't particularly know why, but I just felt like, you and David could carry it just fine. And, as I'm watching the Survivor series with David and we're getting into it, because, when you do this kind of podcast, you get into a much deeper level, layers, and you're, really digging down into stuff, and it's just really fun. So I really enjoyed it. So as a result of, and then of course I saw Angelique, the shining star, last week. I'm like, that's a tough act to follow, but I'm going to do my best.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be amazing, because we kind of always had these type of conversations growing up and different shows that we're watching, or when we'd go see movies and stuff like that. So it's kind of like in this new era of the world, we kind of all get to do it online, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Yeah, and pretty much Sheila was commenting anyway, so.
Right? She's in the chat being like,
I know. So like, just give in. I just
gave in. I can't believe she did that.
I know. Just gave into it and said, here I am. So here we go.
Here we go. So how have you been feeling then, just about like this season so far? And have you been keeping up with the seasons up until now, Sheila?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, there is so much strategy involved. And of course, I'm watching it now and looking at different things. But this last episode, it really hurt my head.
Really?
It hurt my head because there's so much going on. Like Andy's up to antics and Rome's bopping all over the place, and people are concerned, and there's just so much going on. I was like, why is this the episode I'm going to be on? Because a lot of it, I think I missed a lot of it.
No, I'll bring you back into what was going down. I took lots of notes.
All right.
We have Sophie here joining us. Yes, another family affair. Sophie believes that we need the whole family on the podcast together. Maybe for the finale, we can get everyone in. Everyone with the last name Francis.
Oh my gosh.
Even Mimi Francis.
Mimi, of course, Mimi is definitely should be there all the time. Of course.
Oh, she's here.
She's there.
So this episode was called Belly of the Beast. Did we hear when anybody said this, or do we know why it might have been entitled this?
Yeah, I got it. I mean, absolutely. Yeah, when they went to tribal council, Jeff said, you're here in the belly of the beast. So he did that at tribal council.
Did I even write that down? I don't even think I did. Good catch.
That's why you have us here, Chantele.
So even in the preview of this episode, I definitely do a lot of edit kind of thoughts and like thinking about how they're going to be presenting us this episode and kind of predicting what is going to happen. And in the beginning, the first thing I wrote down was, I am scared for Asia, with it showing her gathering her army whilst also showing Rome finding the idol. I was like, okay, this is the storyline that's going to be playing out this episode, and I don't think Asia's going to win. Did you guys have this kind of inkling as well?
It's a good take, Chantele. I have to looking at the edits now. That's a whole other thing I have to focus on now. But,
just your enjoyment.
But yeah, did I have a feeling about Asia? No, because I didn't look at that stuff. So I can't comment, but I can comment on the fact that you're smart enough to look at that for that stuff. So it's good.
So we go to the Tuku tribal aftermath. And so how did you feel, Sheila, about having TK exit the game in the way that he did? He's a strong guy. He would be great for challenges, but he's gone now. And now they're back at Tuku. And what do you think about how that all went down?
Well, like Kyle really should have reconsidered writing Sue's name down. It wasn't that necessary. And, he just created an enemy. And she seems like a woman that hangs on to her spite. She's salty. So, he could be in trouble with that. So I think that was probably for me, like, oh boy, what's Kyle going to do?
Well, I thought he did a pretty decent job with how he was smoothing things over, being like, I kind of had a feeling this is the way that things were going to go. And I think that he was doing a good job, but Sue was not having it whatsoever. She didn't care. She was just like, you wrote my name down. You're my enemy. Do you think this is the right route, G-Daddy?
A right route for Sue?
Yeah.
Well, for Sue, I mean, obviously she's working on emotions right now. So, I mean, that's not a good thing in the game, obviously, to run it on emotions, but that's what she's doing right now. But I thought the exit with TK was great. I mean, Gabe made a big mistake, and I think at that point, because he played his idol out of fear on that, right? So He says, I heard my dad's voice. So he hears voices, I guess, right? But he heard his dad's voice and decided to play it because he didn't want to be one of those people that were left with their idol in their pocket like last season, right? We had so many people that were left with, well, I think all of them last season had their idols in their pocket when they walked away. So he didn't want to do that. So he played it. But again, it showed that he didn't have a lot of confidence in his so-called alliance, right? Because he wouldn't have played it if he did. And he played it, got it out there, but he doesn't have it anymore. So I think he played a lot of that out of fear, quite frankly, which is not great for him, I don't think, because it didn't show confidence that he had the team with him.
Yeah, I was speculating that maybe he played it in case it was a tie, and so that he would be protected from a rock draw. But it does look that it was the fear and the voice of his father, chastising him and encouraging him maybe to play his idol. I mean, I would be a little bit freaked out and scared if I saw, I think it was 6 or 7 people last season. Well, every single idol that it was in the game never was played. Right. It was everybody went out with it. And I would be kind of scared of that, but not with the way that this vote was going. It didn't seem like that. Like, I felt that he had the numbers, and I agree that he should have been a little bit more confident in that because he had it for the idol for three tribals. And so, and he raced on the first one. But he's probably also thinking that he could refine it, right? Chances are it's going to be rehidden. So maybe he's just like, okay, let me get rid of this. Everybody knows that I have it. Get it off my back and go find another one, and that nobody will know about. Maybe is what he was thinking.
That could be. He doesn't have TK watching over his back as he tries to pull the key out of the tree.
Carolyn, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say this has become survivor PTSD because every time they're going to tribal, they all start thinking about their survival PTSD of getting kicked out with an idol in your pocket, and that is like weighing on them all. They're all mentioning it, so it should be interesting how they make their decisions based on that.
100%. So Dreadful Ruby here says last season they all went home with idols. This season we will get idols played uselessly out of fear. Yeah. Yes, and so it is interesting how the sins of the previous season really color the current season. It kind of happened with every season, especially in the new era, that things that happened before reflect on how the game is played this season. So do we think that we're going to get any properly played idols or anybody that holds on into an idol for a really optimal move?
Oh, Rome will do it for sure because Rome can do no wrong. Right? So if anyone's going to be able to play an idol correctly, it's Rome.
Probably. Now, we're going to talk a lot about Rome this episode, but one thing I'm wondering if it's going to happen for me is that Rome and Q are very similar in the type of player that they are. I've found, and I really wasn't able to handle Q in the beginning, but then near the end of the game, I was a Q fan. I'm like, I'm all in for Q. So I wonder if I'll have that same journey with Rome, because right now I'm not a fan of Rome, but hopefully if he's in the game long enough, it will, shift and I will be rooting for him. How do you guys feel about Rome and Q in that comparison?
Well, Rome doesn't wear a skirt, so.
I actually when I went to the a live show, I made a Q skirt as well with my sweatshirt. I love his Q skirt.
It's become popular, I guess, right? But no, I mean, Rome is playing a great game. I mean, a lot of people don't like him, but he's got a lot of confidence right now, which is not. I don't know if that's absolutely great to have, but he's pulling it off, right? So he's got the confidence, and he goes and finds the idol, and he's got the confidence, and he goes and find what is it when he went off on that journey or the boat ride or whatever we're going to call it, but he did well there. So he really does put up. He puts up. He backs everything that he says up.
So far,
in my opinion. So far.
Not everything, because he thinks he's like the godson or whatever. And Rob is the godfather. I mean, honestly,
you guys remember Boston Rob, right?
No, I love Boston Rob. That's like the ultimate love story, him and Amber. So Angelique and I are probably like both like Rob fans. And honestly, like when Rome said that, I was like, oh my God, he's really pushing it. He's just so arrogant. And based on what Asia said in the exit, he's really a lot to handle. Like,
yeah, I've definitely, watched a lot of her exit interviews and hearing a lot more about how camp life was. And she has more patience than I do, because I don't know if I would have been able to handle Rome on the island.
But that's part of the game.
Yeah, like in the
what?
Part of the game.
No, I know, absolutely, and that would be the challenge of the game for me.
Yeah.
Would be this particular person. Like,
Yeah.
I think Asia even said it. She's like, I can handle like 99% of the people in this world, but Rome is like the one person that's her kryptonite. Like, she's really great at getting along with everybody except for Rome.
Yeah, he rubbed her the wrong way, but that's part of her demise too, right?
Yeah,
so he rubbed her the wrong way. She didn't read that right. She should have stayed, with him, or not with him, but not show the fact that she didn't really like him, right?
Divide.
So that was the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'd be better at faking it. Maybe. I don't know.
You'd play the game. You'd play the game, and you'd be able to do it. For sure.
Hear that, casting?
Yeah.
Come on. Let's go.
Are they gonna do? I don't know if they'll do 2 Rob as a podcast hosts.
Why not? They'll have minimum 1 per season.
But she said that I think she said that when she went through it in the exit, she said that when she went through it, they didn't even know that she was the podcast or anything like that. She went through it as herself. So you go through it as yourself, but they're gonna know you, so that's not gonna work. So
I've talked to casting before, so I don't think they know that I work for Rob as a podcast, but we'll see. Maybe I'll try for season 49, so maybe that I'd have a chance at 50.
Gosh.
I don't know. Maybe this is maybe. Sheila, I still think that me and you should do the Amazing Race.
Oh gosh, that would be. I would be. Oh no, that would just be really bad.
That would have been great a few years ago, though, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
but you could do it now.
I could do it.
I think
it would be great TV. I could tell you that.
It would be great. She'd be butting lines.
It would be great TV, because it would just be a mess.
Well, no, it would be me and you, and then G Daddy and my brother would be.
It's like another family edition.
Yeah, not me.
So Rachel slept poorly on the bamboo over at Gata. Annika only got about 20 minutes sleep. Sam is like, it's bamboo. It's not the Ritz-Carlton. And he's kind of annoyed that they want to fix the shelter rather than going out and fishing. I'm loving this rivalry that's brewing between Sam and Annika. How would you guys feel about sleeping out on the bamboo? Would you be going for the shelter comforts, or would you be going for the fish?
I'd be going for the fish, because how long does it take to fix the shelter? You can do that in off hours, but during the day, and the fishing is it's peak time. You have the gear, go for it. What do you, and don't complain about you have no food.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Go do some yoga on the beach. You'll be fine.
Or even just sleep on the beach. Don't sleep on the bamboo.
Well, they got
it's
that
really
choice,
not
right?
that complicated.
You sleep on the beach, though. What do you got? You got a lot of bites and rats and all of that stuff on the beach. But I mean, the bamboo. What's that?
Is it them rats on this beach?
I don't know. Who
Possibly,
knows? No one
yeah.
slept out there, right? But you got crabs, right? So you got a lot of stuff on the beach that could affect your sleep there. But the thing is with the bamboo's a bamboo. It's not going to get much better than that, right? It's a bamboo bed. You got to sleep on it, and you got to make yourself comfortable sometimes, and just kind of move around. But I can get that it gets really uncomfortable. But once it gets uncomfortable, I think at that point, I guess there was a couple people, Rachel and her, that were kind of complaining about the sleep situation, and they made a big noise about it, which I guess I would too. But yeah, I agree with Sam, but he wasn't vocal about it. Let's go fishing, was he?
It didn't show in the episode of him being vocal about it, so I don't know if he was just stewing on the inside, and just allowing this irritation to build up.
It really built up.
That's probably
really
right.
built up. So they've got their friction going on.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can't tell if Annika knows how much he's annoyed with her yet or not. Like, because she's kind of a bossy project manager, tell people what to do. And so I don't know if she's recognizing that Sam isn't liking her bossy boots attitude. I don't know. But that's going to blow. So we see Annika and Sam are hitting a survivor wall, says Andy. And then when they're arguing about the clothesline, and he starts hacking the clothesline, and she's like, we've just had some better luck sawing it. And he's like, she's like, yeah.
It looked like some anger was coming out as just chopping, right?
It was dangerous too. I mean,
it was dangerous.
Come on, you've got a machete in your hand. And you're whacking at a cable, and there's people like standing right there. It was just like, I'm like, this is not good. But yeah,
if it did snap early, if he did get through it early, he could have had follow through.
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
Listen, Annika was right. It wouldn't have held otherwise. I mean, she was right on, and he just didn't want to hear.
You're talking about the clothesline now? Yeah, we're talking about the clothesline, yeah.
Yeah,
the clothesline and Sam's just butthurt or ego. He doesn't like being told.
Well, maybe he wanted to be the glue, right? The glue guy
doesn't
need to be upset about this stuff, right? The glue guy is just follow orders, I would think.
Well, I think he changed his mind.
He doesn't want to be the glue guy anymore. He wants to be the leader, or he doesn't want her to be the leader.
Right.
So did you guys notice at the end when they finished, sawing through and they finished that, and Annika's like, okay, high five, everybody. And Sam went to high five her, and they just like.
I didn't notice that. I did not notice that.
They're just not in sync. They're not in sync.
It was really funny because nobody noticed that they didn't actually high five, and he was just all like pouting about it.
I didn't see that.
Good teamwork, and then he's high five.
hey, they did well, so they kept it all together.
So Rome wants to know, for the record, how many fish have been caught on Survivor in one day? Who has caught the most fish? I don't know this stat, but Asia asked why, so you can beat it. Asia is really allowing herself to get roped into this guy's antics. It would be hard, but he's probably about a decade younger than she is. And so I wish that she was able to just little brother him, right? Just be like, okay, this little brother, he's, braggadocious. He, likes to be encouraged. His ego is leading him right now. Let him have it. I wish that she was able to just let him have it. Because she's old enough
he didn't allow that though, because maybe he saw her as a threat. Rome chose his alliance, based on different things, but Asia maybe would not follow him, or he maybe felt threatened by her or something. I don't know.
I'm not sure
from
if
the beginning
alliance, so Sheila, because he told Teeny, Tila told Keisha, and all of a sudden that group knew. So the alliance was formed based on him sharing his information. And that's how he formed his alliance, really, by sharing the information.
And also from first episode, day one on the beach, when she went to the first journey, he said, big mistake, Asia. Right. You never leave your tribe. I'm not going to jeopardize, the first few moments with my tribe. And so I think he already put her on the outside from that point. And then they weren't clicking. But it was also easier to keep her on the outs because he already kind of formed that foursome while she was away. So
that's true.
if she had stayed there, maybe he wouldn't have had such good inroads with the other three of them.
That makes sense.
Sucks.
That could be an interesting piece. That could have been part of her downfall. Just start right from the get-go, leaving that day. It'll be interesting to see who else left that day, where they end up.
Well, TK.
Carl's in the same place. TK's gone, so there you go.
There you go.
It was.
I'm
just
sorry.
those two.
It was TK and
Asia.
Asia. That's right.
Yeah. So maybe there's a lesson there.
Don't go on the
when
first
you go on
journey.
Survivor, Chantele, remember that.
It's really hard, in some of Asia's exit press, she talks about the fact that nobody wanted to go, and then I think that they were deciding who was going to go, and Saul said, okay, maybe I will go, and so nobody seemed to really be stepping up and saying, she's like, okay, listen, I will go, I'll try to get this back for our tribe. And even people were giving her confidence, with Teeny saying, hey, I can't wait to talk to you when you get back, and Saul being like, okay, do it for Asia, and so making her feel supported. And so she definitely didn't feel as bad leaving as it may have looked, or actually was for her game.
Do you think Teeny was saying that because I want to tell you that I know who you are?
Absolutely.
I can't wait to talk to you until you come back, right?
Absolutely.
So I know who you are.
100%. I would be pumped. I'd be pumped. That would be nobody went for Yellow Dreadful because they won that first reward challenge. So Asia knew that she would have to deal with the fishing expert in Rome. She's kind of let him have it sometimes.
He's the only one that caught fish.
He's the only one that would let it. He's the only one that monopolized the gear. No one else got a shot. But I think it was so funny when he's like, "There's a shark 10 feet away," and I'm like, well, go after it. That's we'll feed the tribe for 2 days. But instead, let me just let everyone know that I'm, risking my life out here.
And so it's very funny with just how Rome is that he's dominates using the fishing gear, but then he's upset that people aren't going and getting the pod and getting everything ready and starting but he doesn't let anybody do these other things,
I didn't mind him getting the fire starting and doing the pod. I mean, he was just controlling the fishing, right? But
maybe in the beginning he was he wanted to start fire, and then Kishan started the fire.
I remember that. Yeah, I do remember that.
However,
I think he was just pouting. I'm doing all the work here. No one else is helping me. They're in the water. They're having their little spa day, and no one's helping me. So he's just brooding over the whole thing, even though he wouldn't let anyone take the fishing gear, and he was going to catch some big fish, right? So
that's why I said go after the shark.
Asia said in her exit interviews that she doesn't even like fish and she doesn't like seafood, and so the fact that it was all about her wanting to have some of the fish that he caught when she doesn't even love fish, obviously she's going to eat some for a little bit of protein, but she's not drooling over this fish that Rome has caught here. So yeah, Rome thinks that they're lazy because he's out there catching food and they haven't started the fire yet. I just find it would be frustrating though, because he's like, why should I be feeding them? Just because
you can't feed. What is it? What was it? 6 people with 4 fish that about that size. How can you feed 6 people? And then to go ahead and say, well, 2 is for you guys, and I'm going to keep 2 for myself. Out of the 4 fish.
Even our nice Canadian Genevieve was he kept 2 fish for himself. She's kind of laughing with it. I want to see a little bit more of their relationship, because what's also been alluded to in Asia's exit interviews is that everything was kind of broken down in 2. So Kishan and Teeny were a duo, Genevieve and Rome were a duo, and then Saul and Asia were another duo. So I wish I saw more about Genevieve and Rome connection, because maybe because she's Canadian, she's more tolerant, but how does that work?
It could be because she's Canadian, right?
Canadian, eh? Hey. So Rome ate the 2 fish in front of Asia, and he spat on her back. It was unintentional, but it was still pretty disrespectful. How did you feel, Sheila, about the fact that Rome was just smacking his lips and not being considerate at all with how he was consuming this fish.
Yeah, I mean, Rome, that was to me a blunder on his part, because you have to be social, and you have to be like, everyone contributes. So if you go and you chose to go fishing and your goal was to get fish and you got fish, then don't deny them because they didn't do something you expected them to do. So it was just, I feel like really, really wrong. I think it'll come back to bite him, because they're going to remember that's just his character, right? That came out. And it was just a bad move, I think, on his part. Yeah.
Jeffrey says, LOL, I'm Canadian. I didn't get that quality, apparently.
It's like, yeah, it's just, anyway, my opinion.
So back at Gata, Sam has never had a pineapple. He's never had watermelon. He may have had one raspberry in his life, never tried zucchini, doesn't know what broccolini is, heirloom tomatoes. What? Sheila, how shocking is this? I believe he's 24, but
yeah, he doesn't get out much, I guess, like at all.
What are you actually eating?
I think this is a boy who never grew up. He didn't want to eat his vegetables, didn't like this, really picky eater that never grew out of it. And now he's 24 and has had no experience eating. It was like, so that just like, for me, that narrowed that my whole opinion of Sam changed, because it's like, okay, so he's not that worldly. He's not that adventurous. He likes to stay like where
Safe.
He's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like that to me was a kind of a big reveal to the type of person he really is.
Absolutely. And I mean, fruit is not that scary. Like maybe, seafood could be a little bit not comfortable to look at. I can understand that. And certain meats, maybe even certain vegetables, they don't necessarily taste good. But pineapple?
I mean, yeah, it just doesn't even make sense. Like, how is that possible? And yes, what is he eating? And he's an athlete. So, well, he's a reporter, I guess, but he's a former athlete. Like, so when you were an athlete, like let's say playing football or whatever, you had to feed your body. What did you feed it with?
Maybe just
I don't understand.
Maybe just chicken breast?
I guess. And carnivore.
It was shocking to me. I mean, of course, everybody's had their own personal life experiences. I just found it shocking that I probably have pineapple every day or every other day. Like, it's a fruit that I love and enjoy, and I can't imagine never having tasted it.
Not even
at the age of 24.
Tried it, or to me, what it shows about him is his lack of desire to even explore, right? So, like, he's very much does the same thing all the time. He's not willing to introduce new foods into his life. So it just tells me a lot about his personality. He's not that worldly.
Yeah,
he's just very narrow-minded, very like, it's just interesting. So that was interesting that they even included that in the editing,
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of, maybe, I don't know.
We'll here gives a good point, says with food, it could come down to being neurodivergent and dealing with textures. So that's a possibility. Ooh, we have feedback here. Feedback. I'm going to mute you.
Tech. We love tech.
I mean, better than Frozen?
Yeah, we can see a spinning wheel. That's perfect. There.
Well, I hold on. I muted you. I'll unmute you. Do we hear you?
You can.
Wow, that's out of this world. That's like,
sorry, I muted you. It's like, it sounds like we're on a spaceship, and it's like
you fell into a well.
I have you paused right now, so if you're muted right now, so if you're talking, we can't hear you. So yeah, it definitely could come down to having issues with textures and stuff like that. So I can totally see that. But pineapple, watermelon, these are like my favorites. Mango, I like probably never.
So let's just say he goes to a family picnic or something. He doesn't eat any of this stuff?
I guess
Like,
so.
I just don't
He
like
said
that
he's eating
again. That
watermelon.
tells you something about his personality.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe though he'll try some new things now that he's like, because I think Survivor would be very much him stepping out of his comfort zone and trying something new. And
This is
so
true.
maybe now with having new friends, you know, Sierra, he knows that Sierra's favorite fruit is pineapple. Maybe she'll encourage him to try the pineapple. And, you know, maybe this is like the beginning of his new relationship with some of these tasty fruits.
We'll see when they win a reward where they go and eat somewhere. You know, we'll see what he does.
I know, I love watermelon. It's bright pink. It is. Okay, how's this?
All right.
Oh, that sounds
Hey,
good.
Welcome
Yeah.
back.
That sounds great. Better than before. It was like whoa, 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 whoa. We were just talking about how Sam has never tried any basic foods and fruits. Do you remember? Is there any foods that you haven't tried that would be surprising to us? I feel like I've tried everything. You, Daddy? No. Maybe he doesn't hear me.
Or maybe he can't hear. Babe, can you hear?
I think he can hear. You can hear me? No. I don't think so.
Oh, I did put headphones. Maybe he's putting headphones on.
Oh, okay. Duh.
Yeah, there we go.
So
There
you
we
can't
go.
hear us?
Hi.
Can you hear us now? Oh, no. Okay, let's see. Let me see if I can do anything. Edit mic settings. Let's see what you got. We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Speak. Why is he thumbing up?
I don't know.
What are we thumbing up?
What are we? You
What
can talk.
What are we agreeing to?
Okay, well, we'll allow him to
He'll figure
what's
it
happening
out.
here.
We'll let him figure it out.
So Andy, though, wants to gain the majority here with Sam and Sierra because he's noticing, obviously, there's a little bit of friction going on with Annika and Sam. Annika and him don't really get along. We saw that a couple episodes ago. And so Andy's looking like he has a lifeline here, which is really cool. And Sierra, at the same time, wants Andy as a member. She wants to bring Andy in with her and Sam so they have a strong 3 against potentially Annika and Rachel. So Andy says that he will give Sierra his shot in the dark to hold on to so that she can feel confident that she has his vote. How do you feel about Andy's play here with Sierra? Sheila. We hear you.
Can you see me?
Yeah, we see you and we can hear you. Okay, answer away. Yes.
No, I thought that play, I got a whole lot of respect now for Andy. I really do. I thought that Andy did great on this episode, actually. And he was, what I liked about his play in this game is that he was watching their actions, not necessarily their words. So he's looking at it at a deeper level, which, as you know, it's all about context and process and structure. It's not about the content, right? So he was looking at what was going on from another level, and he could see all the friction and so forth. When he went and gave Sierra his shot in the dark, which I think I missed that, where he got a shot in the dark, but
everybody gets a shot in the dark. They haven't been explaining it each season, but in the new era, shot in the dark has been just part. You get I believe you get a die or dice. I can't remember which is which. Each person that you carry around, and if you want to play it, then they give you. I think it's 12 scrolls. 2 scrolls will say safe on it, and you'd pick a scroll at tribal council. So everybody gets a shot in the dark to start the season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure how that was that was actually done, which is great that you tell me now. Yeah, because I was kind of confused. Where do you get a shot in the dark? Did I miss something? What did I miss?
Yeah.
You know. But I thought that was a great move for him because he really just showed that, number one, he trusted her and he let her know that he could be trusted, right? So I thought that was a great move of his.
Dreadful Ruby also kind of agrees here, thinking that Andy just needed to adjust a little.
Yes, I agree.
Do you remember, did you watch the season where Aubrey was on? Aubrey and Michelle Fitzgerald? Aubrey, I can't remember which, was it Korong? Anyways, Aubrey was a player on like day 2 or 3, like very early on the season. She had a meltdown, and I was like, oh boy, this game isn't meant for her. And then she went on to being one of the best players I've ever seen play Survivor. And so I don't know if that's the same fate for Andy, but it just may have been overwhelming. And hopefully now that he's staying in the game, he's realizing that like everybody's not against him. Like they're all just playing a game and they're getting to know each other, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but he's kind of settling in. So
Yeah.
hopefully he's going to do better.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking now that was part of his game.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
That was gameplay.
Well, that'd be good though, because then if he gets down to the final 3, he can, show
he has a
growth.
Great story.
Show his growth, right? And that's a great part of the story. So yeah, maybe he orchestrated that. I don't know. The plan of a meltdown day 1, and then I'm gonna, make it to the final 3 and look at how far I've come.
I don't know if he went in the game with that intention, but he will definitely use it, because it looks as though this is the angle that he went through casting with. It's that like, I was always on the outside. I've got this new sense of confidence. And then you see the breakdown. He's able to overcome, survive, literally the name of the show here. And then if he makes it to the end, he could just say this whole journey was him learning about himself and rediscovering himself. And so he has a story. If he gets to the end, he could definitely win it.
He doesn't have to sit there coming up with all the great reasons. It's just it's written already. But I think
everybody's seen it too, which is also strong.
And the tide turned for him. Like that was, you could feel it in the game. He hit a benchmark, or he hit a level or whatever. But he made some inroads in this episode. So I think he's pretty safe right now.
Yeah, from the time that everybody started cheering for him and they were like, yay!
The coconut.
Yeah, no, I think he got confidence from that point forward. Is like, okay, I can do this.
That's what he needed.
You need to encourage your children. It's very important.
Yes.
Very important.
Over at Tuku, Kyle finds some sort of nut and he shares it with Gabe. And Gabe immediately is like, I want to keep Kyle. And so he shares the information that he now wants to get rid of Tiana. And he's saying this to Kyle, obviously wanting to protect Caroline and protect Sue and get rid of Tiana right now. And I guess he thought that Kyle was just going to fall in line. He believes that Kyle would be his limo driver and just, fly across the country to go drive him somewhere because he's that loyal and kind of a man. And I do believe he's loyal and kind, but I was surprised that Kyle didn't really fall in line as Gabe predicted here. Because then Kyle goes and tells Caroline, Sue, and Tiana what Gabe was proposing. You're nodding, Sheila. How do you feel about this?
I'm trying to think back to the episode and when all that went down, because that was like, that was a little confusing. I'm not sure what, I'm not really sure what he's planning. I think he's got a plan in mind. I think he wants to, I guess align with the girls. I don't know.
No, I think his plan was, I want to survive. Well, I want to survive here, right?
Well, Kyle or Gabe? Sorry.
We're talking about Kyle right now. I think Sheila was talking about Kyle, but I think Gabe, his mistake was he didn't read it right, and it was a little bit too soon for him to go into that with Kyle, because they didn't really have that strong bond at that point, because they were always looking at as Gabe as the odd man out, basically, when they had that the foursome that they had with TK. But yeah, he tried to bring Kyle in, and Kyle basically at that point said whatever. But he wasn't as loyal as Gabe thought, because he went right away, of course, to Tiana, and he went right away to Sue and Caroline, and that was a mistake of his, of course, as well, right? So
huge mistake.
Yeah, huge mistake there, because he blew it up for Gabe, and he blew up his game, so to speak, with Sue and whatever, because he snitched too, right? So who's going to trust a snitch at the same time, right?
My question is, why didn't Kyle take that information and only go to Tiana? Why did he need to bring Caroline and Sue into this first conversation, being like, hey, Tiana, I know that we didn't vote together, but I still trust you. I still want to work with you. How do you think we move forward here? Because this is the information that Gabe just gave me, and he wants to come for you. He wants to protect Caroline and Sue, and he wants me to work with them to take you out. How do we work here? And bring Tiana in this way, because Tiana has a better relationship with Caroline and Sue. Allow her to do the talking, not you. You just voted for Sue, and you know that Sue's not happy with you. So go with the person that's in with these two, if you're going to, want to try to shift things or give them some information. Yeah, I think he played it poorly, but I thought that he should have talked to Tiana.
Yeah, I agree with you. But when he went over there, he lied as well, right? So when he went over there and he said that Gabe was calling them goats and so forth, that was not true unless that was not part of the edit, because Gabe did not call them goats at all.
He didn't say goats, but maybe he said he wanted to go to the end with them.
No, he called them. He said that they're his goat. They're his goats. He's the shepherd. They're his goats, right? Is what he went and said, right? And that's something he would say, right?
Yeah, I guess he was making an analogy that he wasn't blatantly said.
Right.
So then a boat arrives at every camp, and one person has to get on the boat. Kyle decides to go. Annika is going to go, and Rome is going. Now, I heard that this was also a bigger fight than they showed on the episode. Previously, Saul wanted to be able to go on the next journey, and so did Rome, obviously. And they did like rock, paper, scissors, or some sort of.
There's rock, paper, scissors.
No, but this was beforehand, a qualifier like the day before.
Okay.
And so it was already settled that Saul was going to be going on the next journey. And then when the boat came, Rome was like, no, we're doing this again. We're gonna have another qualifier again. And so then Saul lost in this new qualifier, but he was supposed to be the one that was going on this journey. I don't know how they let Rome go. They don't let Rome go on this journey. It wasn't right. But
it's just bad.
Rome is going. Rome's the leader of that tribe in his mind, and everyone's treating him like the leader right now. So he says he's going. So he went.
He went for sure. Would either of you be the ones to go on this journey here? Would you want to?
I wouldn't be there, but if it wasn't,
because we have to suspend reality here.
It's not even an option, okay? But it would depend on what's happening in the game. Like if you're really desperate and you want it, you could look. It didn't work out for Annika and Kyle. All right, it happened to work out for Rome. Of course, he's the only one. So, I don't know. I think with Survivor, you just got to you got to go for it each time, because there's so few reward. There's so few carrots given to you, so to speak. Like you got to take them when they're offered. I think.
Yeah, I don't think I would go. I wouldn't go because I would want to stay with the tribe and see what's happening there, right? So I wouldn't want to be away from the majority and be that one out there that they're talking about. I'd want to stay with the tribe and be around the tribe and be talking about whoever went.
Yeah, and I guess that's why Rome felt he's good, because he has an idol, and he couldn't vote anyway. So, and he's the lead dog, so I'll just go. So, but that created foreshadowing. That explains the little pre competition rivalry between.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
That makes sense now. That little backstory makes more sense.
That's why it's like.
Well, no one knew where they were going either. They didn't know it was a journey. It was just getting the boat, right? So they could have been going for lunch. Who knows?
Right? We've seen any seasons especially of recent Survivor, they would have an idea that they're going to be going on a journey where potentially an advantage might be up for grabs. So over at the journey, they do ask who went home on, was it Katja? No, on Tuku.
Yeah.
And Rome, we hear, wasn't a fan of TK. So I'm wondering if any alpha energy Rome just doesn't vibe with. He just wants to be top dog, main dog, alpha dog, all over the place. And anybody that might come up against that, he doesn't want to be playing with them. So maybe Asia has been a little bit too alpha. Saul has definitely been quite alpha. And so this is the pattern that I'm seeing with with Rome so far. They think that Sierra and Sam are a couple, and they're just like, no, they both have partners back home. It's funny that they are aligned, but like I don't see them doing anything kind of flirty, or it doesn't seem like they're coupley, but they definitely do have an alliance. But it's just because I guess they're pretty and young.
Yeah, I thought that was good intel though, because when Kyle said, TK went home, I'm there, why are you giving them any information? But then I realized he really didn't give them much information anyways. We're going to find that out at the challenge anyhow, right? So he didn't give up any information. And then I believe that, didn't Rome tell an untruth again?
Yep, he said Saul and Asia are running the show back at his tribe, and he is on the outs.
That's right. Okay. His mother's not going to be happy with him. I know that for sure now. a lot of lying from him. But yeah, he told him a lie. And then who was the other one that was there? Annika. What did she give up?
I guess she just said that Sam and Sierra weren't a couple.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
So they all each have to pick a different path. When they get to their stations separately, there are 3 packages inside a bag, and you have to pick one. So there's no choice here. You have to pick at least once. If you pick an advantage, congratulations. If you pick a lose your vote, you have the option to choose again, where there is another lose your vote and advantage in there. But if you lose a second if you get the loser vote, you'd be losing your vote for 2 tribal councils. So this is a pretty annoying one that you don't even get to say, no, I don't want to play. Like you have to play no matter what. So your odds are is that you're likely going to lose your vote, but they put their hand in. So Kyle puts his hand in and he loses his vote, and he's stopping there. Why is he stopping there? He's on the bottom. If he can get through this vote, then deal with the next vote. But like, he's probably not getting through it. So if you lost your vote as Kyle, I think that it was a no-brainer for him to be putting his hand in the second time. And he could just tell his people, like, I lost my vote for this one tribal. Like, you don't have to tell them the truth that you lost it for 2. Anyways, I thought that was a misread on his part.
Yeah,
I don't understand how Kyle thinks. Like, the things that Kyle's doing, like going to Tiana initially would have been perfect and let her bring in Caroline and Sue. That would have been a great strategy, Chantele. And for him to, like, he's just making weird choices that I don't understand. Like that, that's what I said earlier. Like, you're on Survivor, you're given a chance. Go for it. What do you got to lose? Worst case scenario, you have votes. 2 votes. Yeah, I know, but like,
I agree with you.
50-50 shot. So my question is this. So yeah, because once you take that one out, it's a 50-50 chance, right? You don't put the other one back in. It's not, you're not picking from 3 again. So the odds are like you got a better shot of getting the right one. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
But, well, it wasn't a better shot. It wasn't a better shot because at first it was, well, no, you're right. There's a 33% chance of getting it.
Yeah, and now it's 50-50. That's what I'm saying.
Isn't it?
You didn't have anything to lose though. So you grab it, you get the one, like you said, the lose your vote. It didn't matter. So
it
didn't matter because he was on the bottom anyways. He should have done that, and he could have had a chance here and picked the steal a vote.
Yeah.
If he picked a seal vote, that doesn't matter if he can't get through the next tribal, right? Like, or not seal vote. Sorry, if you got the lose a vote, like exactly. If he doesn't get through the tribal, then
the second one doesn't matter.
Exactly,
it doesn't matter. Like, I just didn't get it, but anyway.
So yes, that's Kyle. I thought that he chose the wrong. He stopped too early. He should have tried one more time, especially since the odds became better as he went on. So it's like, you're going to lose your vote anyways. You might as well try to gain it back and get an advantage.
Miscalculation on his part right there.
But, we're sitting here coming up with this great answer, but, he's also sleep deprived, starving, bruised and bloody. So, okay, I'll give it to him.
But he's on the bottom. If he wasn't on the bottom, like Annika, when she goes next, she just does it the once. She loses her vote. She stops there. I can understand her stopping there because she doesn't want to necessarily lose her vote for 2 tribals because she's not in as dire of a position as Kyle is, or she doesn't know that she is anyways. If she knew that they're kind of plotting her demise, then maybe she would have gone for the second tribe, but
I still think she should have gone for it because if she trusted her alliance, they could have supported her, even if it's through two tribals. But she could have made, 50-50 chance. You could have picked the good one. So I don't know.
Maybe they're not going to go to tribal. Maybe they're going to win their way to the,
That's what I mean.
But it's the next tribal, isn't it? Isn't the next tribal?
Well, what if they win
next tribal that they're in?
Yeah. What if
I wonder?
What if they don't have a? She doesn't go to tribal until the merge or something.
That would be awful. But I don't know if there was like a caveat that up until merge, maybe that this, or if it plays into merge, that would suck. If it was like first two tribals at the merge, like you don't have a vote. Yeah, that would be awful. But at least you're at the merge. Like that's pretty good. Yeah, I think I would have gone back in and been like, I have to give it a try. I had to try to get my vote back. But she didn't. I understand her reasoning, though, a little bit more than Kyle's. And then Rome puts his hand in, and it's congratulations, you win, steal a vote. Like,
of course. It's the Rome show.
Is this the pride before the fall? Is this what's happening? Or is this Survivor gods building Rome up because they're going to, have him fall?
No, it's Survivor Rome. Come on. That's the name of the season.
I know, that's what he says. Survivor Rome.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned for him, obviously, because as soon as they can get him out, they're going to try to get him out. And they can now. He doesn't have his idol at this point. He's got to steal a vote and all that stuff, but he doesn't have his idol at this point. So they're going to try and get him out, I think, at this point. At least Teeny will.
You think Teeny will?
She's running the show. Teeny is running the show on that tribe.
Yeah.
In my opinion, she's running the show.
But allowing Rome to appear as though he's running the show.
Yeah, because we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but she's able to control his mind.
Yeah, she is.
So here's, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying they all come back to their beaches. Sam's not really believing Annika because Annika says, well, I chose to keep my vote and I chose not to play. And so womp womp, and Sam's not really buying this. Sierra's frustrated, of course, because the people think that her and Sam are in a relationship, and Sam is giving confessionals, being like, "I love you" to my fiance. Like, there's nothing going on here.
I'm thinking about you all the time.
And then Kyle tells them that he lost his vote. Do you think that Kyle should have been as forthright with this information with his tribe, or should he maybe said something else?
Silence, right? No, I think that I don't know if they would have believed him. They would have wanted to see it or something like that if he would have said something different. So I think him going in there and saying, I lost my vote. I saw at that point Sue, though, was like, okay, this is ready to go home, right? Ready to send him home. But I mean, I don't know if he could have done anything much better than that. If he went back and said, I was able to steal a vote, I don't know if that would help him either. So he said what he said. He could have lied, like you said. He could have lied, but I don't know.
I don't know if he has the chops to come up with a good lie that would be helpful for him. So
that's not his. He's playing with honesty. That's his whole thing. That's
what we've seen him lie already. We saw him lie when he said that Gabe called them goats. Gabe did not call them goats.
But maybe he misunderstood what Gabe said.
Gabe was only talking about getting out Tiana. He was not talking about getting out Sue and Caroline at all.
I agree. I'm just saying, comes from that. I want to play an honest game. Good guys can win Survivor. Was part of what he said at the very beginning. So he's just trying to be true to that. I don't know. Maybe that's why he told Tiana, Sue, and Caroline at the same time, because he doesn't want to he wants to play an open, honest game. I don't know.
So Annika doesn't want Andy to know the truth that she lost her vote. So she says as we talked about before, that she chose to not play and keep her vote. But then she does go and tell Rachel and Sierra the truth that she did lose her vote for one tribal council, but she didn't want Andy to know the truth of that situation. Then Rome, is Rome going to win an Oscar here for his performance on being a sad sack that lost his vote? And Solid Media is like, do you have the note? He just calls him out right away. And he's like, no, I left it up. I left it up there.
This is truth.
So Teeny walks with Rome after he tells, what happened on the journey. And Rome tells her the truth of the situation and that he won the Seal vote. And so Teeny now feels as though she's going to have to swim with Rome. Rome has all this power. Rome has the Seal vote. Rome has an idol. And then Rome goes and tells Keyshawn and Genevieve. And so at this point, Teeny is saying that she has to work with Rome. I don't agree, but I'm not on the beach with them. I feel as though it's a perfect position to take away some of Rome's power, especially because we haven't seen Genevieve's relationship with Teeny and Keyshawn. We only know that it's a duel with Genevieve and Rome. So I would think, personally, is that like, okay, he has a steal vote, but if we take out one of his numbers, his steal vote won't mean anything because we'll have 3 votes and he'll only have 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really understand why Teeny felt so that she had to be locked in with Rome. Do you guys have any thoughts of that one?
Well, she definitely was Teeny in the middle at that point, right? Because she's looking at Rome and Genevieve with, her and Keyshawn. She's also looking at Asia and Saul with her and Keyshawn. So she could have controlled it and went either way. Yeah. But she wanted to swing it. She didn't want Asia to be in trouble, so she wanted to swing that vote to Saul, right? And she got Rome convinced. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be out there finding the idol, and who do you want to go against to find the idol, Rome or Asia? And she says, "Oh, yeah, you got a point there. Yeah, Saul. We got to get rid of Saul, right?" So she put that in his mind, and it's Saul now, right? Saul's going, and that's where it was set at that point on that side.
So we come to the immunity challenge, and basically the one person has to climb to this big tower. They have to jump into the water. They climb over a plate and back into the ocean, retrieve a key. It's a whole big contraption. It actually looks kind of fun, but it would be strenuous and very tiring to swim in the ocean. And so they have some keys that they're going to have to pick up along the way, solve a seahorse puzzle. And there's going to be a reward with this immunity challenge as well. So there's going to be a tarp and 2 hammocks for the first winner, and then a tarp for the second winner here. Genevieve is sitting out of this one. Keyshawn is apparently terrified of water, so he just learned to swim 4 months beforehand. And Keyshawn is doing this swimming challenge. And even Jeff calls out Keyshawn, saying that he doesn't want to doubt himself. We get an aside from Jeff directly to camera saying, "And that's why you apply to be on Survivor." Do you think that this was the time for Keyshawn to be not doubting himself, like believing in himself here?
No.
Unity on the line? Like,
no, like what the heck? What is this about? This is not a Tony Robbins event. We're here to win a game. Why, win a challenge? Why would you put someone who barely can keep their head above water in a swim challenge?
Yeah, I think that was a team mistake, though. That was a team mistake because you got.
I agree.
It was a team mistake because you got to put your best team forward, right? And they definitely did not do that. They definitely did not put their best team forward on that one.
Yes, Asia was on the line here. This annoyed Dreadful Ruby. Genevieve looked like she could have handled the beam better than some others too. Absolutely. In general, women can handle beams because they have a lower center of gravity, and so their balance tends to be better. What do you?
Is that true? Is that facts?
Yes, those are facts.
Okay, I didn't know that.
These are. And so, yeah, women tend to have better balance than men do. And that's why, you'll see them always doing things like squats or things with their legs, because that's where their strength is. And guys have better upper body strength, generally speaking. So I was so frustrated because I'm like, Keyshawn, when immunity's on the line, it's not the time for you to test to see if swimming at the YMCA lessons a week for a couple months.
For 4 months. Oh, no, that was 4 months ago. So we don't even know if it was 4 months. He learned 4 months ago.
Babe, you saw him swimming, right? You saw him swimming?
I did see him swimming.
Okay,
yes.
That says it all.
Now you got to let everyone know we come from a family of swimmers, right? So we've been watching swimmers all of our life here. We were officials for USA Swimming, and so we've seen it all. And that would not have he would not have won any of the events that we had.
No, we'd be jumping in to save him is what we'd be doing. So.
Yeah. Definitely, I would not be allowing Genevieve to sit on that bench. It would be Kashawn. I mean, like, sorry, Kashawn, not today. I'm happy that you practiced, and that's great, but we need to put everybody that knows how to swim at least.
No, it's like after we win the challenge, we'll go back and give you swimming lessons at the beach. That is appropriate after we win the challenge, which is why we're here, guys.
Yeah, but he knew how to swim. As far as he was concerned, he knew how to swim. I mean, he got into the is that sea or ocean? He got into the ocean and he was able to swim as far as he's concerned. And who knows who the other people were in his lessons? Maybe he was the fastest one in his lessons. Who knows, right?
Maybe he did solos and he had nothing to compare it to. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
I wouldn't be trying. Like, I wouldn't even be confident. If I had the option to sit out here, like, I would probably sit out, being like, you know what, Genevieve, you take this one. I'll sit out this one because I wouldn't be as confident, I think, as she would be in the water here.
But she also feels safe, right?
Unless Genevieve cannot swim.
We've seen her swim though. She had to swim back to wherever she
I'm
had to go.
going to say that would be the only.
Oh yeah, like when they're going, like they've done the challenge, yeah.
Right. Otherwise, because that would have been the only other reason, maybe.
Now
he's worse than Kashawn.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But I had to say, though, I was very impressed by her sitting on the bench and looking for an advantage. I don't know if you've seen some of the seasons where there have been advantages hidden underneath these benches.
I didn't know what she was doing. Okay.
Yes. So maybe there was one. Well, you know, the last time when someone was looking, and there was one hidden, but they didn't find it, they did zoom into the advantage. Okay. So I will assume that there was not one hidden, but I like the fact that she was at least, maybe that's why she wanted to sit out, right?
Maybe that could be.
I didn't catch that. I just thought her holding her flint, and I don't want to give up my flint. So anyhow.
Rome is getting mad at Saul because he wants to go first, and Saul wants to go first, and they do let Rome go first. Now, how would you critique Rome's swimming ability? Like, he definitely kept up. He was, I thought he might be being set up to fail, but he did succeed in a sense. But I didn't personally think that he was a great swimmer. You guys are more professionals at this than I am. So how was his swimming style and ability?
Well, before we get to that, I mean, let's talk about that little
fight
scuff that they had. I mean, I think it was a fight because Rome was saying, like, if you go and you don't do it, I'm going to be mad, right? So I'm the leader here. I'm going to be mad if you don't do it, right? And he says, okay, you go ahead, right? But Rome did call it first when they said, who wants to, go first? I'm first. So he jumped in there first and said, I'm first, right? And then, Saul is there. Rome, would it be okay if I went? No, if you go and you don't make it, I'm going to be mad. Oh, okay. I don't want to make you mad. You go ahead. I mean, that's how I saw that piece. But he says, hey, I know that I can do this event. And if you don't do it and you don't do it good, I'm going to be so mad because I know I can do it. And so, well, no, you go ahead then.
I mean, sometimes it's just you pick and choose your battles with Rome, it seems. But I just wish, like, maybe I wanted to see Saul go first. I wanted to see if he's going to be good, He
would have been fine, yeah. But Rome did say, I'm going to be able to jump out to that buoy, and he did. He did. I mean, he did a good job there, I thought. He kept everybody up, or kept it up.
Andy believes that he would be great at every single part of this challenge. So he feels as though the two slowest people should go together. And I think that's actually probably good. So then, like, you just have one slow round and then the other rounds could pick up the pace. Do you think that was the best strategy, or would it have been better to put someone slow with someone a little bit faster and have them maybe try to motivate them to move faster?
There's something to be said with that. But I think too that with like, everyone's going to get a shot anyway. What difference does it make? I mean, Saul was an anchor. He was like the last two to go. Was he not? Did he end up being an anchor?
I think so.
So they had Rome at the front and Saul at the end. It's the perfect to put your two strongest at the beginning and at the end, and you push the incompetence in the middle, right? And so typically that's how we've always seen the relays run and swim. So it really, to me, Rome was just making noise for no reason. What's the diff? If Saul's so great, let him go first. And if you're so great, you can be the anchor. I mean, I really didn't think it was that big a deal, but anyway. But I thought Saul was pretty good. I thought he was decent. And Rome's just he swims like he moon dances. He's fast.
Sue was a good diver. Sue was a good swimmer and diver, I found. And Andy, who had a lot of confidence in his ability, was really screwing up the beam portion. I was like, Andy, don't screw it up for Gata, please, please, please. And then Asia and Keyshawn are so slow at this point now. Because Asia's not this, it doesn't seem like she's the strongest swimmer, but she had to participate in this challenge because she sat out the last time. And we know that Keyshawn is not a strong swimmer. And so at this point now, Gata was able to catch up. So Tuku is able to get all of their keys. And now they're on to the puzzle portion. So we have Gabe and Caroline on the puzzle. Eventually, Annika and Rachel are on the puzzle. And then finally, Teeny keeps on falling on the beam, unable to get across this beam. Everybody had trouble with that beam. It doesn't look like it's that hard, but I've done gymnastics before, so maybe that's why I'm like, it's not that crazy.
That fall, Andy's fall too, man, that would have hurt.
Yeah. Oh, Andy falling, Teeny falling, and they're just like crawl, and it was the same. If you got your foot fell in the water, that's when you'd be kind of disqualified, or you had to go back to the beginning. It was rough. It was
painful.
Rough to watch.
Painful to watch, painful.
So when they're all doing their puzzles, did you notice that for Lavu Red, which is the tribe with Rome, so it's Asia and Keyshawn, I believe, doing the puzzle, and Rome is like, oh, that's the wrong piece. Like he's just like the peanut gallery watching them do this puzzle. Why didn't he step up and do the puzzle then? He's not confident in his puzzle ability.
I guess. I mean, how did they determine who went? Did they do it when they got to that stage?
At the beginning. I think they decided.
Oh, it was decided at the beginning. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. But yeah, I think that I don't know. He always has to be in there irritating people. You probably irritated them. Can you imagine if you're trying to figure it out and you've got the peanut gallery behind you?
Of somebody that really frustrates you already? Absolutely.
Sending out, and that's like a negative energy he's sending out. Like that did not help the team at all.
No, I just making them feel exasperated and that they're like stupid and they're doing it wrong. And yeah, it's not helpful for sure. So Diana's saying that Jeff said on his podcast that they haven't hidden idol at a challenge in a long time and they probably won't again until people stop looking. Well,
okay.
But you want them to find it, Jeff, so put it there.
Yeah, Jeff.
So in the end, Gata wins first place. So that was Annika and Rachel on this seahorse puzzle. Tuku Blue is second, which means Lava is going to tribal, and all I wrote down is Asia is toast.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall at that point. I mean, she tried, but you know what? Like, there's things she could have done, perhaps. There's certain moves she could have made, but you know what? I was talking to David about this. Like, it's easy for us to say. But we are also commenting on a bird's eye view of what's going on, right? But the players themselves, they're in their little tribe of 6 or 5, whatever, and they don't have the bird's eye view that we do, right? And so some of the times they're making moves, and maybe they're making moves. Maybe it's just the way the stuff happened, right? But we're here analyzing, saying, "Oh, that was a good move." It could have just happened that way.
No, absolutely. We're was it Monday morning quarterbacks or armchair quarterback, all that stuff. Like, I don't actually know what it would have been like to be out there with Rome. Can we hear you, or you can't hear us? I have you muted just while you're tinkering.
Okay, babe. We can see you.
We can see you. You're muted, and you let us know when you can hear us. Yeah. So Rome back at their camp is laying it on thick. You know, he has no vote. Oh, you know, this is the end of my game. It's just Rome. Okay, hold on. talk?
No sound, babe. No
You
sound.
can't hear us. You can't hear us.
No, he's gone. Oh, I think he's saying he's leaving.
Got it. He probably maybe his Bluetooth on his headphones is like disconnecting or something.
Tech issues.
You know, it's a tech thing. So I really wish though that Teeny had just told Asia that Rome has the steal vote. Like if that had happened, right, then Asia would just have a little bit more information and she would have been able to play the scenario that Dad was talking about. She just didn't have all the information, so she didn't realize how dire her situation was.
Yeah.
Because she knows that there was like these three deuces. She feels as though Teeny and Keyshawn want to work with her and Saul, and that they would want to get out Rome if he didn't have this idol. So let's take out Rome's right-hand person. Like it seems like a no-brainer with the information that Asia has. And so talking a little bit more back at Lavo, we learned that Keyshawn is Teeny's number one. They start the conversation. Keyshawn's like, well, so does anybody want to go home? No, nobody volunteered. Unfortunately. Asia does have a couple talks to Teeny. Teeny says that they don't want Asia to be going home, looking for a way to make sure that, that she stays. And then Rome tells Teeny that it is Asia. Asia's the person going out this episode. But Teeny is trying to put the votes on Saul, like we kind of talked about a little bit before. Mm-hmm. Which I thought this was great. I was like, okay, maybe Teeny's going to be able to save Asia here, get the votes on Saul here. And it seems like Rome was like receptive to this idea for the fact that, he could find another idol. He might be a little bit more difficult to beat later, all that stuff. And so Rome was fine with taking out Saul because he dislikes Saul a little bit equally as much as Asia, it seems. Mm-hmm. So Rome decides to tell Saul now that it's 99% it's going to be Asia. And he's doing this whole acting thing, and Saul is calling him out. I think that Saul might have played this poorly as well. He should have just maybe fed into this lie instead of kind of, calling out Rome here. Because he said, what did he say? Saul questions if Rome is lying. He's like, well, why wouldn't you lie to me? And Rome didn't really deflect here. How do you think Rome was with his deflecting Saul's questioning?
No, he just did not. I almost thought that Saul's question was like, it caught him off guard. Like he didn't
think that he's going to ask that.
Yeah, like what? Oh my God, he's asking me that question. Like,
why you could be lying to me?
Yeah. So I thought I felt like he wasn't prepared for that.
Shocking, though.
And Saul just can read right through Rome anyway. He's called him on a number of times. So
this whole ruse is to prevent Saul from playing an idol, or playing his shot in the dark. Because if he feels as though the vote's going to be Asia and it's actually him, he won't play his shot in the dark so that he has his vote and they can take him out. So this is why he's having this whole ruse happen, but not. No, it wasn't working.
No. But what's so funny is that he's just so not self-aware. Like Rome is so not self-aware. Anyway, continue because you're probably going to talk about it.
So Keyshawn tells Teeny, and they tell Asia about the fact that we're going to put the vote on Saul. And from what I heard from Asia in her exit interviews is that she just didn't really understand that, she knew that there was three duos and she was like, hey, let's just take out Genevieve. Why would I need, she knows that they all know that there are these three duos. So why would she want to get rid of one of her duos? Because it would be helpful in their foursome. And so she didn't understand that they were giving her this lifeline. But what do you think that she should have done this anybody but me vibe, like Sandra Diaz-Twine? Anybody but me? As long as
she could have. I think she believed that it was her, Keyshawn, Teeny, and Saul. She believed those were the four, right? So did she did she know, like, so there's a lot of dynamics that were going on for me at this point, like, and what does she know from what does she not know? So yeah, this was a little, I felt like she was in a tough place. You came up with a good answer. If she had known, and Teeny could have just said that's gonna be played. But she was, even when they at the end, when they wrote the names down, who wrote what names down were confusing to me. Like, it just seemed discombobulated. Like, it didn't seem like she executed well. You know what I mean?
Teeny or Asia?
Both of them.
Right.
Like, I felt like there was missteps. Teeny should have enlightened Asia so that she could make a good decision. And Asia, didn't read it right. So I'm thinking like there was a lot of missteps.
Well, didn't you think though? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're a little bit tinny, but it's okay.
What's that?
It's a little bit tinny, but it's not bad.
Oh, is it tinny?
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
It's okay. We can hear you.
Probably the microphone I've got on right now. But no, I thought that with Asia at that point, she didn't read it because Teeny came and told her. Teeny came and said, hey, if it's not, I'm going to swing the vote against, away from you, so it's not you. Right. So she was saying, hey, everybody's talking about it being you, but I'm going to swing it away, so it's not you. And she didn't read that right, because at that point she should have known that there's another alliance going on, obviously, that she's not a part of, and that's the foursome there. She should have known that, but instead she said, hey, no, we've got our four. We've got me, Saul, you, and Keyshawn, and that's how we should go into this and vote whoever they're going to vote out. Obviously, it wasn't going to be Rome, but vote Genevieve out and break up that whole alliance over there on that side and swing everything to your side. So she didn't do that. She didn't listen, and at that point, that's what caused her trouble, because she could have said, okay, we'll vote out Saul, right? But she didn't do that.
So you think that just like self-preservation and like anybody but me would have been the way that she should have gone if she's hearing that it's going to be somebody that's not her for this vote?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not me. Oh, really? She should have definitely went with the game there, because you would have had now another 3 days. 3 days to be able to work your magic, right? So why go out now when you could spend time working your magic and staying in the game?
So I'm just going to read you a little excerpt from Asia's one of her interviews. And it says, and right before Tribal, they came up to me and said, we will vote 3-1 on Genevieve. And I was like, are you sure? They're like, yes, we like that. We're cool with that. We're down with doing a vote split. And I said, okay, I'm just going to make sure that Rome uses his idol. So if I say anything at Tribal, I'm going to make sure that he's using his idol on himself. And so I even told Genevieve this right before Tribal, hey, don't want you out of the loop. But me and Saul got a third person to vote out Rome, because I was like, she's going to run and tell him. So I was like, okay, just in case she didn't, last chance at Tribal, the third person, whoever is agreeing to vote with us, please vote with me. And that was so that Rome would be able to be spooked and play his idol. So it was kind of misleading as to how the show played it up, because she did get confirmation from Keyshawn and Teeny that they were going to be voting out Genevieve, and that they were lying to her right before. And so that's why when Asia was leaving, she said that really hurts, because it was like a blatant lie saying like, this is what we're doing. Are you sure? Yes, it's what we're doing. And it wasn't. In turn, they voted out her.
Oh, that explains why she wrote Genevieve and Saul wrote Rome. Like, I didn't understand that.
Yes. Okay. So that's why they're splitting the vote, just in case he used it on the other person. But so like if Saul used the vote or the idol on Genevieve, then they would at least have one vote on Saul. Right. And so Saul would have been the one that would have gone home.
Right.
And then that's why. Yeah. Anyways, but they put all the votes on Asia instead. So Asia went home.
That explains why she was so salty.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, she couldn't have done anything other than vote out Saul, but Saul wasn't part of the equation before Tribal from her perspective.
Yeah.
So, it's really unfortunate. But just to talk a little bit more about Tribal, Kashawn is staying true to the core four. That would have been, I'd been alarm bells. I'm like, I'm not part of a core four. What the heck is a core four? That would have been a little bit alarming to me. And then Asia gives the the trio a group chat analogy. It's like, oh, you're in a trio, and you see your trio having like lunch without you, and I was like, that's actually how she's really feeling right now, because it's Keyshawn and Teeny, and Asia is left out of this equation for sure. Or that alliance, the core four, is leaving out Asia and Saul 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So Saul was making eyes at Asia, so I wasn't really sure what was going on there, but I think it was to confirm doing the vote split, this and that. And I don't think that Saul was ever somebody that Asia was going to be voting for at this tribal council, with the reassurance that she was getting from Teeny and Kashawn, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So Asia makes that final plea that I just mentioned, and Rome gets up and plays the vote for himself, or the idol for himself. So I was like, I actually wasn't sure what was going to happen at that point, because I was like, are they going to vote for Genevieve? I'm like, no, it has to be Asia, right? And it was Asia in the end. It was, and Saul only got one vote from Teeny, and it really hurt Asia. She's not going to lie. And Asia is out of the game. So what could Asia have done differently? Just go all in on Saul? Was that her only play? Is just agree to that? And
I mean, again, it's not me, so that's good, right? So as long as it's not me, at that point, she didn't have the control that she thought that she had, and so at that point, and she should have said that right away. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Yeah, let's do it right off the bat. She should have said, yeah, I'm okay with Saul, and then try to figure out something after that. But she left a lot of doubt in Teeny, and Teeny, of course, was kind of controlling a lot of things over there on that side, because she went and switched it from Teeny, or not from Teeny, from Saul, and then it became Asia at that point, right? So because Asia was not going to play with them properly, or not play with them properly, but she didn't feel like Asia was going to be brought into her game to be helping her later on. So Asia won.
Boo. Well, that's it for the episode. Do you have any final thoughts? Did we see scenes from the next episode? What's going to be going down?
Yeah, it looks stuff going on. But hey, this is an interesting analogy that I came across, is that there was comparison of Teeny and Kashawn to Charlie and Maria last year.
Oh. So do you think that in the end they're going to turn on each other?
That was like, and that Charlie was pretty quiet, kind of under the radar. They were kind of behind the scenes, but like running stuff. And Teeny, like, I think with Asia, if like, babe, you said it, like if Asia had just gone along with it, right away she showed Teeny that she's not someone that Teeny can manipulate. So she had no use for it.
Right.
So why wouldn't she play the game and be manipulatable? That's such a word, but not really be, but play the game like you are, because that's what Teeny needed to see, right?
Yeah. Just a misread that's on Asia's part with how things stood. I think she thought that she was stronger with Teeny and Kashawn than the other two. And so, yeah, it was a miscalculation, misread. And I guess it was well played. Do you think that this is going to be good for their tribe? Do you think that this is going to be a successful tribe now that Asia's gone?
Or I have no idea.
Again?
I don't know. I have no idea whether it's going to be a successful tribe now that Asia's gone. I'm not sure. We didn't
more cohesive, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, obviously more cohesive. Well, no, it's not really more cohesive because you've got Rome, right? So I don't see the cohesiveness there, because he's got he wants to go after Saul. After obviously he doesn't like Saul, so that's going to continue, I believe, into a riff on the next show. So we'll see.
Who's our MVP this episode?
It's got to be Rome, like I think, but then Teeny at the same time, right? So Teeny and.
I don't know if it was best for Teeny yet, though. But Rome got what he wanted. He got an advantage. Got out a person that he wanted. Got an advantage. Got Teeny and Kashawn to lose people that were working with them, and would have kept them solid to the end. So I think
Plus the
Rome
extra
gained
fish.
the most this episode.
Extra fish. He's got more protein in him.
Got more protein in him. Catching fish. So as much as I'm not a fan of Rome necessarily, because he even was coming for Rob as a podcast, the next day he had like a gif of him like walking with his torch being like, morning RHAP, and like just trolling us. And I was sort of just like, oh! Rome. But I do think that he was the MVP this episode, even though the outcome wasn't what I wanted.
Did you guys, I mean, I was in and out of this episode here with you guys today. However, I'm just kind of curious, did you guys talk about with Andy going across in that challenge? Obviously, he fell off the
hard hit
a few times, right? And I think that Andy at that point thought that he was going to be out at that point if they had to go to tribal, at which he probably would have been. So, I mean, I think he was really blessed at that point to still be in the game, really. Because they didn't lose. So
yeah,
I
well,
about that, but that was something that I had in my mind that I wanted to share earlier. But yeah, great episode. I thought that was fun.
It was a really good episode. Outcome that I didn't want to have happen. I'm kind of with Dreadful Ruby because I can't. I'm biased, of course. Dreadful Ruby can't really root for Teeny right now. Too bitter. She disappointed me so much. I thought that she was going to be an asset to Asia. Well, sometimes though, when people know who you are, they kind of want to do better than you, and so like I can see that she just like, hey, I'm going to take out someone from RHAP. It might have been subconscious. Who knows? But yeah, I was hoping that she would have been more of an asset to Asia and maybe given her a little more information. But yeah, I'm not necessarily rooting for Teeny right now just because like I'm sad, but I'll get it over it.
Hey, and Gatu got hammock, so the bamboo drama comes to a close.
That's true, but maybe not how Sam ties up the hammock. Maybe that's not going to be too Annika's liking.
That'll be this next episode because Annika's got a way to do it, and Sam's not going to agree. So the
hammock looks like a good gill net to me.
A good what?
The hammock looks like a big gill net. Oh yeah, Sam will want to use it to fish.
Don't use it. See, well, I can fish with that hammock.
That's a good point.
Well, thanks both of you for coming on and hanging out with me, talking about this episode. What do you have?
Sheila, for sure. I gotta thank Sheila because if she was not here, it'd be me out and you saying, "Where's he going?" So yeah, thank you, Sheila, for coming on this episode. You did a great job, and obviously you're going to be on future episodes now.
Your audio's crackly right now, which is weird.
Okay,
but
I'm sorry. I'm not
it's like
fired. You're fired. You're not on fire. You're fired.
All right, I'm out.
All right, Shan.
I just muted you. Don't worry. And yes, thank you, Sheila, for coming in. You didn't know that you're coming in to save the day, but you saved the day. So I had a co-host for half of this pod. So thank you so much for being here. It was a good time, right?
Yeah, it was so much fun, and yeah, I'm glad I could help out. And we'll carry on. We'll
carry on.
See what next Wednesday brings.
Yes, I'm very excited. So thank you both. Do you have anything that you want to promote or share with the people before we sign off?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You're good. Well, please, everybody subscribe to the channel and like this video. Let us know what you think of Rome being the MVP. What do you think of Teeny's gameplay? Do you think that this will be best for their long-term success in the game, or do you think this could be the beginning to the end? Who are you rooting for? Tell me all the things. So we'll continue this conversation in the comments below. And otherwise, we'll see everybody next week. Thanks, chat. Thanks for being here live.
Thanks,
like the video.
Chat.
Bye.
Bye.